Welcome to the Book Club podcast. You're listening to the audiobook edition of Becoming Her: How to Stand Out in a World Full of Beautiful Women
by Kamiko Chamo.
If this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future chapters or upcoming book releases. This book is also available on Amazon in both paperback and Kindle formats if you'd like your own copy to read along or take notes. Now, let's begin today's chapter. Chapter 13. High-Value Energy. What sets you apart instantly? Defining high-value energy. High-value energy is not about status, wealth, or beauty. It's about the energy you bring into every room, every relationship, and every interaction. It's the quiet, grounded presence that says, "I know who I am, and I move through the world with purpose." It's an invisible frequency that others can feel before you speak, a blend of self-respect, clarity, and inner peace that commands attention without asking for it. People often confuse high value with high maintenance. The difference is subtle yet profound. High maintenance energy demands. It seeks constant validation, attention, and reassurance. High value energy attracts. It draws admiration and respect effortlessly because it's rooted in inner wholeness. High maintenance says, "See me." High value says, "Feel me." To embody high value energy, you must first release the need to prove yourself. The most magnetic people are those who no longer hustle for worthiness. They've stopped auditioning for approval. They don't enter rooms asking, "Will they like me?" They enter wondering, "Do I like this space? Does it honor my peace?" That shift from seeking acceptance to exercising discernment is where high-value energy begins. It also shows in how you manage your emotional space. High-value individuals regulate their emotions not by suppressing them, but by choosing when and how to express them. They don't leak energy through gossip, anger, or impulsive reactions. Their calmness is not apathy, it's discipline. They know that emotional control is power, and power that doesn't need to announce itself becomes magnetic by nature. A high-value woman knows that her silence can say more than her explanation. She isn't afraid to walk away when something doesn't align. She doesn't chase validation or force outcomes. She moves with the serene confidence of someone who knows her energy is expensive and that not everyone can afford access to it. That boundary alone shifts her vibration. High-value energy also radiates through presence. When you are present, truly in the moment, you emit trust, safety, and focus. People feel seen by you, and that makes them want to be near you. Scattered energy, multitasking, overanalyzing, overthinking repels connection. Still energy invites it. The woman who listens deeply, who speaks intentionally, who smiles genuinely, possesses an allure no performance can mimic. Another key element of high-value energy is self-respect. You cannot command respect from others if you do not first extend it to yourself. The way you speak to yourself, treat your body, and manage your time all communicate your value. High-value energy sets standards not through demand, but through example. You become the standard simply by embodying it. This energy also holds abundance consciousness. High-value women operate from the belief that there is always enough time, enough opportunity, enough love. They do not compete, rush, or cling. Their calmness around timing makes them powerful because they trust divine alignment. The energy of lack pushes, the energy of abundance pulls. In love, this energy transforms dynamics. A high-value woman doesn't chase, she attracts. She doesn't perform, she embodies. She understands that the right partner will recognize her essence without persuasion. Her worth doesn't fluctuate based on someone's interest or attention. She knows that rejection is redirection, protection from what isn't meant for her. Spiritually, high-value energy is rooted in alignment with your higher self, the version of you that acts from wisdom, not wounds. When you make choices that honor your peace, integrity, and boundaries, your vibration elevates. That elevation naturally filters out low-frequency interactions, people, and environments. You no longer have to cut people off. Your energy simply stops resonating with theirs. High-value energy also shows up in the smallest details: your posture, your tone, your consistency. You keep your word. You follow through. You don't gossip or compete. You build and uplift. Your energy says, "I am grounded in who I am, and I walk in light." That steadiness is what sets you apart in a world full of noise. Ultimately, being high value is not about what you have, it's about what you carry. It's not about luxury or aesthetics, it's about alignment, grace, and boundaries. You can wear simplicity and still radiate power, because power has nothing to do with display and everything to do with frequency. When you embody high-value energy, you stop chasing validation and start attracting peace, prosperity, and purpose. You become the woman who shifts rooms without speaking, who inspires respect without effort, and who loves without losing herself. Because the highest value of all is not in being desired, it's in being divinely aligned. Boundaries that build respect. Boundaries are the foundation of self-respect, the quiet yet unshakable structure that allows love, trust, and attraction to flourish. Without them, relationships become chaotic, draining, and one-sided. With them, they become grounded, honest, and magnetic. Contrary to what some fear, boundaries do not push people away. They teach others how to come closer without crossing you. High-value energy thrives in the presence of boundaries because boundaries protect your peace, your energy, and your dignity. They are not walls meant to keep others out, but doors that determine who gets to enter. Every time you say yes when your heart means no, you trade a piece of your self-worth for momentary comfort. Boundaries reclaim that power. Men, whether consciously or not, deeply respect women who hold clear boundaries. This respect isn't born from fear, it's born from admiration. A woman who knows her limits communicates self-possession. Her energy says, "I value myself enough to choose peace over attention." That energy commands respect because it comes from self-awareness, not pride. A boundary isn't about punishment, it's about clarity. It's not saying, "You can't do that," but rather, "If you choose to do that, I will choose differently." It doesn't control others, it controls your participation. That distinction is everything. High-value energy doesn't force compliance, it inspires alignment. People quickly learn that to stay in your life, they must rise to meet your energy. In love, boundaries are particularly vital. They teach the masculine how to love you, not through restriction, but through guidance. When a woman lacks boundaries, her energy feels chaotic. She becomes over-available, over-accommodating, or emotionally unpredictable. This leads to burnout and resentment because she gives without receiving balance. But when she honors her boundaries, when she decides how much time, attention, or emotional labor she'll give, she teaches others how to honor her too. To embody this, practice small but consistent acts of self-honor. When you feel drained after saying yes, pause and reflect. Was that choice rooted in love or in fear of disapproval? The moment you start making decisions from self-worth instead of fear, your boundaries begin to align with your spirit. High-value boundaries are calm, not combative. You don't need to raise your voice or explain endlessly. A simple, "That doesn't work for me," delivered with softness and certainty, carries more authority than any emotional outburst ever could. You don't defend your peace, you embody it. Boundaries also elevate your attraction because they create contrast. They show that you have a life, a rhythm, and a world outside of anyone else's influence. Men respect women who protect their time and energy because that protection signals value. Anything easily accessible loses mystery. Anything well-guarded inspires reverence. And remember, boundaries are not selfish, they are sacred. They ensure that your giving remains genuine rather than resentful. They make your presence feel intentional rather than obligatory. They turn relationships from emotional chaos into emotional clarity. Ultimately, every boundary you set whispers to the world, I am enough without bending, without breaking, without begging. And that whisper, that quiet, unwavering certainty, is what transforms your energy from ordinary to unforgettable. Consistency and composure under pressure. True grace reveals itself not in moments of ease, but in moments of tension. Anyone can appear confident when life is flowing smoothly, but it is how a woman holds herself under pressure that defines her value, her strength, and her inner peace. Consistency and composure are the quiet powers that separate fleeting attraction from lasting respect. They are the pillars of emotional maturity and the hallmarks of a woman who knows herself deeply. When the world feels chaotic, a woman with composure becomes the calm in the storm. Her steadiness is magnetic, not because she suppresses emotion, but because she has mastered it. She feels fully, yet chooses how and when to respond. Her presence communicates control without rigidity, peace without apathy. This kind of consistency builds trust, the most essential currency in both love and leadership. Men, in particular, are drawn to women who embody composure. Masculine energy is linear and structured. It seeks a counterbalance, the feminine flow that soothes without chaos. When a man feels that your emotions are stable, he relaxes. He opens up. He feels safe. But when your energy oscillates wildly, hot then cold, loving then resentful, grounded then frantic, he subconsciously withdraws. It's not rejection, it's self-preservation. The feminine that is rooted, patient, and emotionally aware creates the foundation for deep connection. Consistency also means predictability in energy. You don't have to be perfect, but you must be reliable. People remember not what you say, but how you make them feel. When your words, actions, and energy align, you become a sanctuary in a world of inconsistency. When they conflict, you become a storm, one that even those who love you will eventually seek shelter from. Composure does not mean silence or suppression. It means discipline. It's the ability to observe your emotions without letting them drive your decisions. A composed woman knows that her reaction determines her power. The moment she reacts impulsively, she transfers her control to the situation or to someone else. But when she pauses, breathes, and responds intentionally, she retains her authority. Her calm becomes her armor. Consistency also demands alignment with your values. You cannot command respect if you compromise your principles when pressured. Whether it's in relationships, career, or self-worth, consistency means you show up as the same person in private as you do in public. It's integrity in motion. High-value energy is built through repetition, through the daily practice of showing up with authenticity and grace, even when no one is watching. This consistency also nurtures self-trust. Every time you keep your word to yourself, by maintaining your boundaries, prioritizing your peace, or choosing dignity over drama, you reinforce your inner power. And when you trust yourself, others naturally learn to trust you. Confidence born from self-trust radiates differently. It's not loud, but it's unshakable. In love, composure is often what sustains attraction when passion cools. Physical beauty may draw attention, but emotional steadiness keeps devotion. A man who knows that your love remains warm even during disagreement, that your emotions won't weaponize in anger, feels safe enough to deepen intimacy. Emotional safety, not excitement, is what keeps love alive. Consistency also amplifies your aura. It tells the world that your peace is not situational, it's self-sourced. You are not reactive to moods, gossip, or circumstance. Your energy remains clear, graceful, and strong. And that steadiness is rare. People gravitate toward those whose energy feels safe to touch. Remember, composure isn't perfection. It's the art of returning to peace quickly. It's saying, I can feel chaos around me, but I refuse to let it live within me. It's allowing emotion to move through you without letting it define you. And it's that grace, that self-control, that unwavering alignment that makes a woman unforgettable. Because in a world addicted to drama, the woman who remains calm becomes the most powerful presence in the room.
Non-reactive femininity.
There is a distinct beauty in a woman who is steady in her energy, who responds to life instead of reacting to it. Non-reactive femininity is not coldness or detachment. It is poise under emotional pressure. It's the subtle yet unmistakable message: I choose what deserves my energy. This kind of power doesn't raise its voice, doesn't rush to prove its point, and doesn't hand control to anyone else's chaos. It is soft strength in motion. When you master non-reactivity, you no longer move according to external triggers. You stop letting moods, gossip, and disappointments dictate your peace. Instead, you learn to pause, to observe what's happening before you decide how to respond. That pause is your power. It turns emotional impulse into emotional intelligence. Masculine energy, by nature, reacts to tone and tension before words. When a woman's energy feels calm, centered, and measured, it draws a man closer. It communicates safety and maturity. But when her energy feels volatile, sharp words, quick temper, emotional tests, it signals instability. Men do not run from emotion. They run from emotional unpredictability. The non-reactive woman becomes a sanctuary because her peace is predictable. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It means processing them privately before expressing them publicly. It's saying, I can be passionate without being impulsive. You feel everything deeply, but choose to communicate selectively, with intention, not instinct. You stop using reaction as a form of defense or control. You learn that silence at the right moment can say far more than argument ever could. Non-reactivity also reclaims your dignity. When you no longer engage in emotional tug-of-war, you keep your energy sacred. You no longer need to win the last word, prove your innocence, or correct someone's misunderstanding. You recognize that peace is more valuable than being right. The woman who knows this holds a power that cannot be taken, only felt. Spiritually, non-reactivity is an act of self-trust. It says, I don't need to control the external world because I am anchored within. You trust that time, truth, and energy will reveal all things. This confidence radiates through your body language, the relaxed shoulders, the steady gaze, the voice that doesn't waver even when you're hurt. It is quiet sovereignty. In relationships, this energy changes everything. Arguments that once escalated into drama dissolve into calm conversations. Misunderstandings become opportunities for clarity rather than emotional warfare. A non-reactive woman teaches through presence. She models what mature communication looks like. Her partner learns that her love is steady, not fragile, that her emotions are waves, not storms. Non-reactivity also protects your femininity. Every outburst, every reaction born from insecurity or ego, chips away at your softness. It takes you out of your natural energy, the energy that receives, nurtures, and attracts. When you choose composure over chaos, you return to your feminine rhythm. You become magnetic not because you're loud, but because you're rare. Practicing non-reactivity starts with awareness. Notice your triggers. When something stirs anger or insecurity, pause.
Breathe.
Ask yourself, does this need my reaction, or does it need my reflection? Often, the answer will guide you back to peace. And here lies the truth. Non-reactivity is not about being unbothered. It's about being unshaken. You still feel, love, and care deeply, but you no longer give chaos the privilege of controlling your emotions. You stand in the quiet knowing that your calmness is your crown, your discipline is your defense, and your peace is your most powerful form of attraction. Value in silence and minimalism. There is immense, understated power in a woman who knows when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move, and when to simply be. In a world where everyone is loud, performative, and desperate to be seen, silence becomes a luxury. Minimalism, both in energy and expression, becomes magnetic. The high-value woman understands that her power is not amplified by noise, but refined through restraint. Silence is not emptiness. It is elegance. It creates mystery, depth, and gravity. It says, I am comfortable with my presence, and I don't need to fill every space to prove my worth. When a woman can sit in her own quiet, she emits confidence that cannot be manufactured. She communicates security without words, and that kind of security is irresistible. Masculine energy is instinctively drawn to stillness. Men feel safe around women who don't overreact, overshare, or overcomplicate. A woman who speaks selectively, who doesn't feel compelled to comment on everything, commands attention. Her words carry weight because they are not abundant, they are intentional. Silence makes meaning possible. Without it, everything becomes noise. Minimalism is not just aesthetic, it's energetic. It's choosing what you allow into your space, your time, your heart. It's cutting away what doesn't resonate, what drains, what distracts. It's curating your life like art, every relationship, habit, and emotion serving a purpose. High-value women live with intention. They know that less clutter equals more clarity in home, in thought, in energy. In conversation, minimalism manifests as listening. The high-value woman doesn't interrupt to dominate the dialogue. She listens to understand. Her silence draws others into reflection. She doesn't seek to win arguments. She seeks to maintain peace. She asks questions that provoke depth and leaves room for others to unfold. That patience makes her presence nourishing, not demanding. In relationships, silence becomes her power. She doesn't beg, plead, or chase explanations. She knows when to disengage and when to speak. She understands that energy speaks louder than words, and that absence, used correctly, teaches more than any confrontation. When she withdraws, it's not to manipulate, it's to protect her energy. Her silence says, my peace is not up for negotiation. Minimalism also extends to emotional expression. She doesn't perform emotions for validation. She feels deeply but shares selectively, not because she's guarded, but because she's self-contained. She no longer needs to dramatize her feelings to be understood. Her energy is clear, not chaotic. When she does express, her words land differently because they come from truth, not impulse. Spiritually, silence connects her to intuition. In stillness, she hears her inner guidance, the soft, steady voice of her higher self. Noise drowns that voice out. The high-value woman honors solitude because it recharges her. She knows that clarity comes not from external validation, but from listening within. Minimalism, too, reflects abundance. The woman who doesn't need much radiates that she already has everything. She's not desperate for attention, possessions, or approval. She chooses quality over quantity in conversation, clothing, love, and company. Her presence feels luxurious not because she flaunts, but because she filters. In the modern world, excess is mistaken for importance. But power lies in discernment. A minimalist woman doesn't compete. She curates. She doesn't chase. She attracts. She doesn't overwhelm. She intrigues. Her restraint is her refinement. To embody this kind of energy, practice holding silence intentionally. Don't rush to fill pauses in conversation. Don't respond to every opinion or provoke every argument. Let quietness do its work. Let people wonder what you're thinking. Let your energy, not your words, communicate your confidence. Minimalism and silence together create an aura that cannot be ignored. They strip away pretense and reveal essence. And that essence, uncluttered, unbothered, unapologetically serene, becomes unforgettable. Because ultimately, the loudest power in any room isn't volume, it's presence. And the woman who understands this doesn't need to shout to be heard. Her silence speaks for her. How high-value women handle rejection. Rejection. The word itself carries an emotional sting, a sensation that many associate with inadequacy, failure, or loss. Yet in truth, rejection is one of life's most powerful teachers. How a woman handles rejection reveals more about her value than any victory ever could. High-value women do not fear rejection. They interpret it through wisdom. They understand that rejection does not diminish their worth. It redirects their path. To a woman grounded in self-worth, rejection is information, not humiliation. It tells her something about alignment, that this person, opportunity, or situation was not a match for her frequency. She doesn't spiral into questions like, "What's wrong with me?" Instead, she asks, "What was this moment meant to teach me?" That shift from self-blame to self-awareness transforms pain into power. When a man withdraws, a door closes, or an opportunity falls through, a high-value woman does not chase clarity where silence has already spoken. She knows that confusion is an answer, inconsistency is an answer, and distance is an answer. She doesn't force energy that resists her. Instead, she leans back into herself, into her peace, her passion, her purpose. Her healing process is not revenge or performance, it's realignment. Emotionally mature women understand that rejection often has little to do with them and everything to do with timing, readiness, or someone else's internal battles. When a man says, "I'm not ready," she believes him. When life says, "Not now," she trusts that delay is not denial. Her faith in divine timing is stronger than her fear of loss. The high-value woman also refuses to internalize rejection as proof of unworthiness. She knows her value is not dependent on validation or reciprocation. Rejection doesn't shrink her, it refines her. It teaches discernment, how to differentiate between attraction and alignment, attention and intention. Each no simply narrows the path toward what's truly meant for her. Psychologically, rejection activates the same brain centers as physical pain. But where the average person reacts impulsively, begging, over-explaining, or trying to prove, the high-value woman chooses pause. She allows herself to feel the sting, but not to stay in it. She honors her emotion without letting it define her identity. That emotional control, that ability to process gracefully, elevates her energy instantly. High-value women also never compete for someone's affection after rejection. They understand that begging to be chosen only weakens attraction. The woman who chases what's walking away communicates lack. The woman who stands still communicates confidence. Her silence after rejection is not coldness, it's clarity. It says, "I will not negotiate my value." Spiritually, she understands that rejection is protection, the universe's redirection away from misaligned paths. She believes that anything meant for her will recognize her energy and stay without persuasion. This faith keeps her graceful in moments when lesser energy would crumble. And because she handles rejection with such peace, she often leaves an impression that lingers. The man who rejected her eventually remembers her composure, her calm silence instead of anger, her soft exit instead of drama. He may never say it aloud, but he'll feel it deeply. "I lost something rare." That is the power of dignified detachment. The woman who handles rejection with grace doesn't lose, she evolves. She understands that rejection removes what's unready for her light. Her worth doesn't waver because her identity isn't built on external acceptance. She doesn't chase closure, she becomes closure. And in doing so, she transforms what once felt like loss into liberation. Because in the end, rejection never breaks the high-value woman. It simply redirects her towards something that won't have to be forced to stay. The mirror effect. Energy attracts its level. Every relationship you form, romantic, social, or professional, mirrors the energy you carry. The universe is reflective, not selective. It doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. This truth can be liberating or confronting, depending on the frequency you're currently living in. When you understand that energy attracts its equal, you stop blaming circumstances and start taking responsibility for your vibration. The mirror effect explains why certain patterns repeat in love. If you consistently attract unavailable partners, emotionally volatile people, or draining dynamics, the answer isn't in them. It's in your energy. What part of you still resonates with inconsistency or chaos? Where are you subconsciously allowing what doesn't honor you because it feels familiar? The moment you elevate your vibration through boundaries, self-respect, and healing, the quality of people you attract transforms. High-value women live by this law intuitively. They don't chase people or outcomes. They refine their energy. They know that they can attract peace while vibrating in anxiety, or love while radiating desperation. They take time to self-regulate before responding, to heal before re-entering the dating pool, to align their actions with the version of themselves they wish to attract. Because attraction isn't magic, it's mathematics of the soul. Masculine energy is especially sensitive to frequency. Men may not articulate it, but they feel it. They feel when your words are warm, but your energy is restless. They feel when you appear confident, but carry unhealed fear. A man drawn to peace will subconsciously pull back from a woman vibrating in emotional chaos. Conversely, a woman who radiates serenity, gratitude, and emotional balance magnetizes men who value stability and respect. To harness this mirror effect, start with self-honesty. Ask yourself daily, what is my energy teaching others about how to treat me? If your energy says, I tolerate inconsistency, that's what you'll attract. If your energy says, I am calm, grounded, and clear, you'll naturally draw those who mirror that. People don't respond to your intentions, they respond to your vibration. You can't fake frequency. You can post affirmations, wear elegance, and rehearse confidence, but energy always reveals the truth. The only way to change what you attract is to change what you emit. When you stop chasing, start meditating, stop gossiping, start protecting your peace, you shift from low vibration to high vibration. The universe notices. It begins rearranging people and opportunities to match your new state. Spiritually, this principle echoes an eternal truth, like attracts like. When you radiate love, you receive it. When you radiate bitterness, you meet it. When you vibrate at peace, you invite harmony. That's why high-value women are so magnetic. They live in alignment. Their minds, words, and actions match. Their self-talk is kind. Their presence feels safe. If you want to attract emotionally mature men, become emotionally mature. If you want consistency, be consistent in your standards. If you want loyalty, practice integrity. The mirror doesn't lie, it only reflects. And here's the beauty of this truth. You never need to chase anyone again. You simply become the energy of what you desire. The right people will feel it, recognize it, and rise to meet it. The wrong ones will fall away, not because you push them, but because they can't survive in your new frequency. That's the secret of high-value energy. You stop negotiating your worth externally and start curating it internally. You become your own calibration point, the emotional tone setter of your life. And in that vibration, love finds you, not because you begged for it, but because you matched it. Thank you for listening to this chapter of Becoming Her. If you haven't subscribed to the Book Club podcast yet, go ahead and do that so you can stay updated on every new release. You can also find this book on Amazon in paperback and Kindle formats if you'd like a physical or digital copy. And if you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who might benefit from it as well. See you in the next chapter.